Hermetics. Franz Bardon, the Magician. Lesson 8. The Human Being. The Body. Deep reading about the human body as Hermetic instrument. 7 lessons establish the cosmological architecture: fire, water, air, earth, light, akasha, karma. All of it abstract, universal, operating at scales from the subatomic to the cosmic. Now Bardon turns the entire system around and points it at one specific, breathing, walking instrument: you. This is where the theory becomes a map you can actually use. Not because the previous chapters were merely intellectual preparation, they were not, but because a map is only as useful as your knowledge of the territory it describes. The territory is your body. Every element you have studied, every fluid, every pole, every Akashic principle, all of it is operating in you right now, continuously, whether you are aware of it or not. The initiate's task is to become aware of it and then to work with it consciously. Man is the true image of God. The microcosm claim in full. Bardon opens with one of the oldest Hermetic declarations. Man is the true image of God, so he was created in the image of the universe. Everything that is found in the universe on a large scale is reflected in man on a small scale. This is not a religious statement about human dignity or divine favor. It is a structural claim about the architecture of the human being. The same elements that constitute the cosmos constitute the body. The same fluids that operate at the planetary scale operate at the cellular scale. The same Akashic principle that is the sphere of all cosmic causes is present in the blood and the seed. The human body is a miniature working model of the entire created universe. The practical consequence is exact. If you understand how an element operates at the cosmic level, as you now do from the previous 7 lessons, you understand how it operates in your body. The law does not change at different scales. The fire principle that drives the expansion of stars drives the electrical activity of your nervous system. The water principle that holds galaxies in cohesion holds your cells in their fluid medium. The map you have been studying is a map of yourself. This also means that working on the body is not a lesser or merely physical activity. Every intervention in the body's elemental balance is a cosmological act, a direct manipulation of the same forces that built and maintain the universe. The magician who learns to consciously regulate his body's elemental composition is not doing health maintenance. He is practicing the same art as the divine intelligence that maintains cosmic equilibrium. Health is perfect harmony of the elements. The Hermetic redefinition of health. Bardon redefines health from the ground up. From the Hermetic point of view, health is to be regarded as a perfect harmony of the forces working in the body in relation to the basic properties of the elements. This is a fundamentally different definition from modern medicine's absence of disease or wellness culture's positive feeling states. Bardon is saying health is a state of elemental equilibrium and, crucially, that this equilibrium can be disturbed long before any visible symptom appears. Disharmony does not first announce itself as illness. It announces itself as subtle imbalance, a tendency in thought, a heaviness in feeling, an irregularity in energy that, if uncorrected, eventually produces the gross disturbance we call disease. This means the initiate's health work is primarily preventive and corrective at the subtle level, catching elemental imbalances before they condense into physical pathology. The advantage over conventional medicine is not that Hermetic methods can cure diseases that medicine cannot, though Bardon suggests they can, but that they operate at the level of causes rather than effects. Medicine treats the condensed effect. Hermetic science addresses the elemental cause before it fully condenses. The body as a beautiful garment is Bardon's striking analogy, and it is precise. A garment reflects the care and attention of the one who wears it. The body reflects the elemental state of the spirit and soul that inhabit it. Chronic fire excess shows in the body. Chronic water stagnation shows in the body. Air deficiency shows in the body. Earth heaviness shows in the body. The trained observer can read elemental composition directly from physical presentation, posture, skin quality, eyes, voice, movement patterns. 3. The 4 elemental regions, the body as a vertical map. Bardon gives a structural map of the body's elemental regions that is simultaneously simple and comprehensive. The initiates of all ages use this map, and Bardon restores it explicitly. The head corresponds to the fire element. In the head, everything active takes place. The fiery quality of directed attention, analytical thought, the projective will, the electric fluid of the nervous system at its most concentrated. The eyes send attention outward, fire/projective. The brain generates the electric impulses that drive the entire body. The head is the body's primary fire center. The chest corresponds to the air element as the mediating principle between fire above and water below. Breathing, the most fundamental air principle function, takes place mechanically here. The lungs mediate between the expansive fire of the head and the fluid water of the belly, distributing oxygenated vitality throughout the system. The heart, also located in the chest, is the rhythmic oscillator, fire, systole, and water, diastole, in continuous alternation, mediated by the air principle rhythm of the chest cavity itself. The belly and abdominal region corresponds to the water element. Here, everything fluid, digestive, and reproductive operates, the work of juices, the processing of food into usable substance, the absorption and distribution of nutrients. The intestines, stomach, liver, spleen, gallbladder, kidneys, all water principle organs in their primary function. The belly is where the body dissolves what was solid and absorbs what is needed, the water principle's contracting and extracting function applied to physical nutrition. The feet up to the thighs, including the tailbone and genitals, correspond to the earth element. The lower body provides the foundation, the grounding, the structural base from which the entire organism operates. The bones of the legs, the density of the musculature, the connection to the ground through the soles of the feet, these are all earth principle expressions. The lower body is where the body meets the earth, and through that meeting, maintains its orientation in physical space. The Akashic principle in the body is not assigned to a region, it is present throughout, most concentrated in the blood and the seed, and in the vital substance that arises from their mutual interaction. It is the life force that animates the entire elemental structure, present in every cell but not identical with any of the elemental regions. It is what makes the body a living elemental instrument rather than simply an elemental structure. 4. The 3 functions of elements in the body: construction, preservation, decomposition. Every element performs a specific functional role in the body's continuous operation, and Bardon maps each precisely. The fire element in its active form produces the constructive, expansive, animating activity of the body, the electric fluid that drives nerve impulse, cellular metabolism, the generation of new tissue, the active immune response. In its negative form, the fire element produces the destructive and disintegrating activity, fever-burning infection, the inflammatory response, clearing damaged tissue, the catabolic phase of cellular renewal. The water element in its active form produces the constructive and nourishing activity of all fluids in the body, blood-carrying nutrition, lymph-removing waste, digestive juices breaking down food, synovial fluid lubricating joints. In its negative form, the water element produces the decomposing activity, the controlled breakdown of what has been consumed, the dissolution of old cellular material to make room for the new. The air element has the task of regulating and keeping in balance the electric fluid of fire and the magnetic fluid of water throughout the body. The breath is the most obvious expression, but the air principle's balancing function extends through the entire nervous system's regulatory capacity, the body's homeostatic mechanisms, every process that maintains equilibrium between opposing forces. The earth element in its active form keeps together the influences of all three elements. It is the cohesive force that gives the body its structural integrity, its density, its persistence as a form across time. In its negative form, the earth element produces the aging process, the gradual reduction of cohesive force, the slow release of structural form back toward its elemental components. Both flourishing and aging are earth principle operations. The earth element is both the builder of the body's form and the agent of its eventual return to earth. 5. The occult anatomy, electric and magnetic fluid polarity in every organ. This is the most practically specific section of the entire chapter and the one most likely to surprise modern readers. Bardon describes what he calls the occult anatomy, the precise mapping of electric and magnetic fluid polarity to every region of every organ in the body. The general principle first. The right side of the body is electrically active, the left side is magnetically receptive. For left-handed people, this is reversed. This is not arbitrary. It reflects the electromagnetic polarity of the body as a four-pole magnet, with the electric fluid dominant on the right, projective, active, fire-aligned, and the magnetic fluid dominant on the left, receptive, containing, water-aligned. Within each organ, the polarity becomes more specific and more complex. Some organs have the electric fluid flowing outward from inside to surface, and the magnetic fluid flowing inward from surface to core. Others have the opposite configuration. This internal directional polarity is what Bardon calls the occult anatomy, and knowledge of it is essential for anyone who wants to work therapeutically with the elements and fluids in another person's body. Taking specific examples directly from Bardon's text, in the head, the front part, forehead, is electric, the back of the head, cerebellum, is magnetic, the left side is electric, the right side is magnetic, and the inside, cerebrum, is electric. The eyes have neutral front and rear, electric on both left and right sides, and magnetic on the inside. The ears are neutral front and rear, magnetic on the right side, electric on the left, and neutral inside. The chest is electromagnetic at the front, electric at the rear, neutral on the right, electric on the left, and neutral inside. The belly is electric at the front, magnetic at the rear, magnetic on the right, electric on the left, and magnetic inside. The hands are neutral front and rear, magnetic on the right side, electric on the left, and neutral inside. The feet share this same pattern, neutral front and rear, magnetic right, electric left, neutral inside. The significance of the male and female genital polarity is striking and precisely complementary. The male genitals are electric at the front and magnetic inside, while the female genitals are magnetic at the front and electric inside. The union of male and female is the union of opposite fluid polarities, the electric exterior meeting the magnetic interior, the magnetic exterior meeting the electric interior. The physical act of union is simultaneously an electromagnetic event at the elemental level, which is precisely why it generates the most powerful vitality. 6. The tetragrammaton in the body. The four-pole magnet made flesh. Bardon makes one of his most explicit cross-system identifications in this chapter. The mutual interactions of all four polar radiations resemble a four-pole magnet, which is identical with the secret of the tetragrammaton, the Yudhiviuchi of the Quabbalists. The tetragrammaton, the four-letter divine name, is not a word to be pronounced. It is the formula of the four-pole magnet expressed in Kabbalistic letters. Each letter corresponds to one of the four elemental poles operating in the body's electromagnetic field. The divine name is literally written in the structure of the living human body, in the polarity of its electric and magnetic fluids, in the four elemental regions, in the occult anatomy of every organ. This is what Bardon means when he says the body is a true Athanor, the alchemist's furnace. The great work, the preparation of the Philosopher's Stone, is not a laboratory procedure with physical substances. It is what is happening in your body right now, 4 elements continuously interacting, continuously producing and transforming the electromagnetic fluid, continuously maintaining the living form against entropy through the most perfect alchemical balance. The alchemists who sought the stone in external laboratories were projecting outward what was always operating within them. The OD, the electromagnetic fluid radiating from the body, is this 4-pole magnet expressing itself outward. Its strength and purity depend directly on the quality of elemental harmony within the body. A person in perfect elemental health radiates a powerful, clear OD. A person in elemental disharmony radiates a weak, disturbed OD. This is precisely what sensitive people perceive as the aura, not an add-on quality, but the direct expression of the body's elemental state. 7. Breathing, the most underestimated Hermetic practice. Bardon devotes specific attention to breathing in this chapter because breathing is the primary mechanism through which the body's elemental composition is continuously regulated. Not the only mechanism, food and water are also elemental inputs, but the most immediate and most consciously controllable. The elemental composition of breath is exact. Oxygen is subordinate to the fire element, nitrogen to the water element. The air element mediates between them, and the earth element holds oxygen and nitrogen together in stable molecular form. The akashic or etheric element is the causal principle, the life-sustaining lawfulness that makes the entire exchange possible. Every breath is a 4-element event plus the 5th, a complete recapitulation of the elemental hierarchy in a single inhalation. In unconscious or normal breathing, the body receives only as much elemental substance as is necessary for normal maintenance. The exchange is automatic and sufficient for survival, but not for development. Conscious breathing changes this fundamentally. When the breath is impregnated with intention, with a specific elemental quality, with a thought, with a vital force charge, that intention is carried by the air principle through the electromagnetic fluid into the bloodstream, from there to the astral matrix, and from there to the astral body and mental matrix. This is why Bardon's practical curriculum places breathing exercises so early and emphasizes them so consistently. The breath is not merely an oxygen delivery mechanism. It is the body's primary interface with the elemental world, the point at which the gross material organism continuously exchanges substance with the elemental atmosphere, and the point at which a conscious magician can deliberately influence what that exchange delivers. 8. All healing methods as elemental restoration, the unifying framework. One of the most practically useful revelations in this chapter is Bardon's unified analysis of every healing tradition. Every healing method has the purpose of restoring the disturbed balance of the elements. He then demonstrates this for each major healing modality. The naturopathic method uses thermal effects, baths, compresses, herbs, massages, which work directly on elemental temperatures and cohesion in the body. The allopath uses concentrated remedies designed to produce effects corresponding to specific elements. The homeopath works on the principle of similia similibus curantur, like cures like, which Bardon identifies as igniting the opposite element to restore polarity balance. The electrohomeopath acts directly on the electric and magnetic fluid through remedies calibrated to specific fluid states. This is not a dismissal of conventional medicine. It is a unifying framework that reveals what every healing system is doing at the elemental level, whether its practitioners know it or not. The physician who prescribes a cooling treatment for fever is working with the water element to counterbalance fire excess. They simply do not use that language. The herbalist who selects a warming herb for a cold, damp condition is working with the fire element to counterbalance water excess. All healing is elemental rebalancing. The Hermetic magician simply knows the mechanism directly. The advantage this gives the trained magician is decisive. Where the physician must wait for symptoms to appear before intervening, the magician can perceive elemental imbalance before it produces symptoms and correct it at the level of the fluid directly. Where the conventional healer treats the organ, the magician can treat the elemental cause in the organ. Where any healer must work through physical substances and their indirect elemental effects, the magician can introduce the element or fluid directly through accumulation and conscious direction. 9. The magician as healer, working at 3 levels simultaneously. Bardon describes the full capacity of the trained magician as healer as operating simultaneously at 3 levels. At the mental level, the magician works with will and imagination when the illness has its origin in a disturbance of the mind or spirit. The magician's own spirit acts directly on the patient's spirit, not through the astral or physical body, but spirit to spirit, mind to mind. For a patient in agony or unconsciousness, this level of intervention can restore mental coherence directly. The key instruction Bardon gives is precise. The magician must be conscious that it is only his spirit acting, forgetting his own body and soul completely, so that the effect from mind to spirit is at maximum intensity. At the astral level, the magician works with accumulated vitality impregnated with the intention of recovery. Critically, Bardon specifies that the magician should direct this vitality from the universe directly into the patient's astral body, not through his own body first. This prevents 2 problems, the weakening of the magician's own vitality and the mixing of the patient's diseased astral emanation with the magician's own field. At the physical level, the magician works with elements and fluids applied directly to the diseased organ, following the occult anatomy precisely. The cardinal rule is exact. An organ that functions magnetically must be treated with magnetic fluid, and one that functions electrically with electric fluid. Reversing this causes harm rather than healing. Where both fluids are active in an organ, they are introduced in alternation. The magician who has mastered imagination to the degree Bardon describes can introduce specific fluids into even the smallest organs without any physical contact. The entire intervention occurs through trained imaginative projection. 2 organs receive special warning. The brain and the heart must not be congested with elements or vital force by a beginner. Only a master who is fully experienced and can observe the function of these organs directly through clairvoyance may work with concentrated elemental accumulation in these 2 organs. The reason is structural. The brain is the primary fire center and the heart is the primary rhythmic equilibrator. Disrupting either produces cascading effects through the entire elemental system of the body. The core synthesis, your body as the instrument of all further work. The deepest thing Bardon reveals through the body chapter, the body is not where spiritual work ends. It is where spiritual work is grounded, stabilized, and made permanently effective. A spirit without a harmonized body generates causes from a distorted instrument. The elemental imbalances in the body color every act of will, every emotional charge, every intellectual assessment. The fire excess body generates will impulses that burn too hot. The water excess body generates emotional responses that overwhelm discernment. The air-deficient body generates decisions that never fully land. The earth-deficient body generates intentions that never fully materialize. Magical equilibrium, the prerequisite Bardon names for all advanced work, is not only a quality of the spirit. It is a quality of the body. The body must be brought into elemental harmony alongside the spirit and soul. All 3 must develop together. Bardon is explicit. No part of the ego must be left behind or neglected. Hand in hand with the development of spirit and soul must also go that of the outer shell, that is, that of the body. The student who has studied all 7 previous lessons now has the complete map, the elements as cosmic principles, the fluids as their operational expressions, Akasha as the causal ground, Karma as the developmental engine. This lesson places that entire map inside the body, assigns it to specific regions, specific organs, specific fluid polarities, specific elemental functions. The abstract has become anatomical. The cosmological has become personal. You are not studying Hermetics. You are the Hermetic system studying itself. The fire in the head reading these words. The water in the belly processing this morning's food. The air in the chest mediating between them with every breath. The earth in the bones and flesh holding all of it in form. The akasha in the blood carrying the life principle through every vessel. All of it operating continuously, whether you attend to it or not. The magician's task is simply to become conscious of what is already happening, and then, gradually, deliberately, and with full respect for the precision of the system, to begin working with it rather than merely being carried by it.